Hello, so progress has been made, just about. I've finally managed to seal all the holes in the TVR headers. The welds look absolutely awful, but can't be helped, just can't get access, and it's a bit of a nightmare trying to weld these basically the V-bands to the stainless steel V-bands to the mild steel headers, and I've used 309 wire, which I think has done a reasonable job of bridging the gap between the two, but as I say, it looks terrible, but I don't care as long as it's sealed now, and we can move on to building the stainless steel manifold. I'm basically joining it up with a turbo. So here's the plan. I've got various bits. Got a nice T3 flange with a V-band. Not planning to use that though. So it might help if I actually point it at the thing I'm talking about. So here we go, T3 flange, V-band. That came from eBay. But I don't want to use the V-band because I just want to have that welded. So here's the sort of Y-piece section. So that sort of fits on there, but that's not quite how I'm going to do it, I don't think. Let's see if we can mock it up. And then I've got my cones, 4-inch down to 3-inch cones, which I've already TIG welded. That went reasonably well. Got a nice, that's about as good as my welding gets, unfortunately, but they're okay. No pinholes, nice sort of heat penetration I think there, but a bit grey looking, so I think got some problems there with my gas coverage, but I don't think that's going to cause any problems. I've just mocked up this little piece here, and that's tacked into place just to get things to fit. So let's see how this is all going to work out. So we've got, and I've got also some 45 bits in stainless as well. That's sort of phase 2. I've just been playing around with that. That's the T38 flange that comes out of that will eventually replace this mild steel version and go out, but we'll get this bit section done first. So that goes on there basically. It's all a bit of a mess in here at the moment. That's all going to be cleaned out before obviously anything gets installed, and all these metal shavings everywhere. That sort of sits on there like that, and then basically we just got to bridge the gap between here and here. So at the moment what I was planning to do was to basically bridge that with basically a nice easy straight 3-inch section, rather than getting wound up with lots of different profiles and so forth, trying to make this work. If I can get this the right height, I'm hoping that I can just slot in a nice section of 3-inch there and just join the two up. That sounds like it's going to be too easy there, because I think this is sitting at a slightly different height to that, which is going to cause me problems. But at the moment, first stage is that's too far ahead at the moment. I need to get this at the right height. It'll stay in place, you can see. There we go. So stop moving the camera around. So it's a little bit high at the moment. So my plan was, I don't need the V-band anyway, so I was just going to chop it right on that lip and then basically weld this into the section there, the V-band there. So that should bring that to the right height, that side. And then I'm going to have to try and make a piece similar to that will then enable me to slot another vertical in on the side without sort of making it look as symmetrical as I can. I'm hoping that's going to work, so we'll see how we go. I think the first step is chop that V-band up and see where we go from there. So it's all going well, but slow progress at the moment, so I'll keep you posted. There we go, chopped. Let's give that a bit of a clean up, but we should be there. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is get this Y piece to fit nicely on the V-band. So as I said before, I'm not using the actual V-band connector, so I've chopped that flange off, which is basically that, and my plan is to mount this Y piece on there, then weld that to that, because I don't actually need the V-band connection, but I just need that reducer that goes into the T3 flange. But of course it's not quite as simple as that, because I've got the height right now up and down which matches the height to meet that, but there's also the other dimension I've got to be aware of, where this can sort of rock backwards and forwards in the Y plane. So what I've done is I need to actually take it back a little bit so it rocks backwards. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but I've cut a just a little sliver off the bottom, like a sort of little cheese cut off the bottom. You probably can't see that. It might be better if I put it, there we go, see it a little bit better there. So it rocks back a little bit, angles back, and then that will fit on there like that, and you should be able to see it just sort of tilts back very slightly to match, and that will match the angle of that as we sort of view there. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, trying to get that as close as I can, and then what I'll do is I'll tack this to that and then sort of carry on with the build. Just a quick word on cutting. I mean, I haven't got what I really need is a metal chop saw and a belt sander, and I haven't got either of those things, so I'm making life quite difficult for myself. So I'm chopping with my angle grinder, with a trusty stainless steel disc on it, cutting disc, which absolutely monsters through it, chops through it, no problem at all. But it does leave quite a bit to do, as you can imagine, on the sort of leveling up. I mean, it's not too bad. I've sort of discovered a little trick I've been using. I've been using a hose clip, which works really well. It doesn't work so well on these type of sections, but if you put a hose clip or a large hose clip on your section you're trying to cut, it does act as a little bit of a guide that you can run the blade down to get a very sort of cleaner cut. And I'm getting much cleaner cuts than I was, certainly than I was before. Then it's just a case of, once you get to this stage, it's still not great, but I've been cleaning them up on my improvised belt sander, or in this case an improvised disc sander, which is basically just my rotary polisher strapped into a vise. And then it's just a case of trying to get that reasonably flat on there for the fit up, which I'm having mixed success with. It's just not cutting enough really, but it's a very, very slow process. It's getting there, but it's taking way longer than it should do. But I'll come back to you when I've got it all nice and flush and just about to start tacking that to there. Okay, we're ready to tack up. No, we're not. We've got a leak. What the hell? Well, I really don't know what that was about. I was getting loud hissing. Basically turned on the bottle, loud hissing from I think that's the safety valve, but very strangely just turn the bottle off, reset everything, turn everything back on, and it seems to be all right again. So probably, maybe, I don't know, the safety regulator's not right or something, but looks like I'm gonna have to try and find another regulator. But that's a bit odd. Anyway, we'll crack on. Let's put it up there. So, like I said, we're ready to tack up now, so we should be able to get that moving. I've got that in the right place. Just check that alignment's okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so let's get going. That's not a good start. I'm blowing a hole, so there's a gap there which isn't going to help. This is the problem with straight away, because I've added too much heat there on my tack. It's dragged the whole thing over now and it won't meet, and there's a huge gap now on the other side, so I'm going to have to try and force that back into position before I make the next tack. this is the problem with having a somewhat imperfect fit up. You're just going to run into trouble later on, so that's going to be a real pain now. Let's get that back into position. Okay, I had to break that tack in the end. That wasn't working out, so I've cut through it and I'm going to have another go now. Let's see if we can get this sorted. Just double check the alignment again. Okay. Okay, that was a little bit painful. I've managed to tack that in position now, but it's not ideal, not how I wanted it to go really. But it's nice and flush on a couple of sides, but there's a little bit of a gap at the front there, but I think I should be able to fill that okay. But it's always the way in that it never quite goes how you want, but that fit up is starting to look reasonably good now. So just to recount, the idea here is just to tack things into place. Don't basically commit yourself to any sort of complete welds at the moment. Trying to get everything to line up as one complete unit, so it doesn't take much imagination to realise that I've got to then now bridge these two positions here with a couple of sections of 3-inch pipe. Now let's just have a look at the alignment. So it looks pretty good height wise there. That looks like it'll just bridge quite nicely. That one's not quite so good, but I'm sure it's doable. What I'm worried about is this sort of in the other plane. So that, having now leant back, is lining up much better this side now. So I think that should work okay. This is going to be a little bit lopsided, I think. I don't know, actually, might get away with it. Whoops, that's fallen off. Because of the way the sort of pie piece, as it is, the piece that's tacked onto the cone there, I've got a little bit of option to adjust the angle. So you can see there, I can get that for the best fit. So that should work. It's going to need a little bit of messing around. I'm really not sure how I'm going to measure the distance, because it's different. It's slightly different from the top and bottom, and it's going to be different in that dimension as well. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge to work out how to measure and then cut that to the right sort of shape all the way around. It's not just as simple as cutting a straight piece vertically. So we're gonna have to see how we get on with that. I'll have to think of a way to mock up something that first, maybe a piece of cardboard or something rolled into a tube might work. If I can find some sort of 3-inch piece of cardboard tube, I could basically make a template that maybe slips inside here and then get that very accurately cut. That might work, so I'll have a look at that anyway. Anyway, that's enough for today, and we'll carry on with it later. Thanks.